Well, up next is something very important, but maybe it doesn't really get its due. Well, let me just go straight to it. The Chevening Alumni Program Fund are planning to organize an essay competition for young people in Nigeria. Yeah, essay. Sometimes it's not very exciting. Well, it's as part of its community service endeavors.
Depends on what the prize is.
We'll find out today. Well, to give more details about this, we have two people with us this morning. Dr. Tom Mustafa is Vice President of CAN and Chairman, Selection Committee, CAPF Essay Competition. She's here with us in Lagos. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And we also have Professor Abiodun Adeniyi with us in our Abuja studio. He is Associate Professor of Bayes University and member of the Publicity Committee of the same essay competition. Thank you, Doc, for joining us this morning. You'll have to permit me, Doc, they say ladies first. Yes, they say, yeah, ladies first. So let's come here first. First of all, tell us what this is about. It's not very exciting, but you heard Alera say it will only be exciting if the prize is equally exciting. But first of all, tell us what this is all about.
Okay, so the Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria is partnering with the Chevening Alumni Program Fund to organize an essay competition titled Alternative Narrative to Illegal Migration Among Young People in Nigeria. And it is for undergraduate students in Nigerian institution. And it is for generating ideas from young people who are actually, when you look at illegal migration, people that risk their life through the Mediterranean Sea, through the Sahara Desert, they are mostly people under the age of 30. So Chevening is creating an opportunity to have an intergenerational learning, to actually give a platform from the young people to say, why are people risking their lives? Of course, we know yesterday was the International Day of Migrants, and it's been reported that around 272 million people are living in countries other than where they were born. But migration can be by choice and by necessity. So we really want the young people to come up and say, why are people actually risking their lives to go elsewhere? And what options are available to curb this? Is this the only option? And we really want to prevent having people dying. When you look at the news and you hear young Nigerians, young Africans are dying and on the way to Libya, we really want to curb this.
Well, okay.
Sorry, Professor, is this in any way suggesting that legal migration is what young people should be looking at?
Just first, let me just give a kind of background, as an addition to the important points that my colleague has raised. First, the Chevening Alumni Association is a group of professionals who have been privileged, to undergo a one-year master's degree program in different universities and institutions in the United Kingdom, and of course we have a group, members who cut across different sectors of the nation's socio-economic and political life. Among them, of course, we have in the media, our recent president, John Momo, chairman of these organizations, and of course our chairman designate, for the board of trustees, one of our biggest masquerades. Of course, still in the media, we have Simon Kolawole of Cable, Dalakpova of Abuja Inquirer, Eugenia Abu, Kaderi Ahmed, Christian Ogodo, and Ijoma Onyato, ace broadcasters. In the business and finance sector, we have, of course, Adeshola Adedunto, First Bank, Habat Wigwe Access Bank, Mudashiru Alonge, Vetiva Capital, Afunke Amobieson, Stanbic IBTC, Consultancy, Communications and Consultancy, we have Amina Yagbola and Kesta Osahewe, our present president. And of course, let me just go quickly to the academia as well. We have NUC chairman, NUC executive secretary, Professor Adamu Rashid, Professors of Law, Amasike and Chidi Odinkalu, Ken Amechi, Professor of Sustainable Business, University of Edinburgh, and of course my humble, modest and miniature self, and of course in politics we have Bolaji Afolabi Abdullahi, I beg your pardon, former minister, who is due to become the governor of Kwara State in due time. And of course, we have the former managing director of Transcorp Hilton, Valentine Ozigbo, who will assume office as governor of Anambra State, hopefully next year. And in the public sector, we have Dr. Anthony Akpa, and Adiza Santali Said of NJC. In the health sectors, where Professor Afolabi Lesi of the University of Lagos Teaching Hospital is there, and so many of us, we are all over the place, in the nation's life, contributing our quota from our proverbial little corner. But importantly as well, our idea of leadership is that leadership shouldn't be seen as something that is external to the self. Leadership has attributes that we can cultivate from our own angle, from our micro angle, from our own units, and of course bring together at the macro level such that we can impact on the society in which we find ourselves post-Chevening scholarship. From these angles, we are making our contribution, exemplifying leadership, having cultivated the attributes. And what we're trying to do in this circumstance is also carry the young ones along with us as a way of giving back to the society, get them involved in national conversation, considering the fact that the youths are becoming increasingly important in national conversation, and we do not want to just begin to reckon with their presence. We also want to countenance their future. And one area that this is critical is for us to see how they can explore their potentials, exploring their potentials in terms of how we can help them to look inwards, by not necessarily externalizing their hopes, thinking that migration is simply synonymous with progress. It's okay to migrate if it is legitimate, if it is not irregular. Of course, the world is integrated, the world is decentered. Knowledge sharing is an ongoing thing, especially in the age of globalization. But what we're saying is that first, have you explored, the opportunities available to you internally before you now try to externalize your hope, and before you begin to think that it is better to die trying than not to try at all. That's the essence of this competition, to involve, to include the youth in this conversation.
Professor Adeni,
this could be.
Thank you very much. If we allowed you, probably go on for the next hour. Said like a true teacher. Thank you very much. Let us come back to Dr. Mustafa. Now, why is Chevening focusing on this particular issue?
Okay, so like we said, one of the challenges, Professor Adeni said, we've been there, what the Chevening Alumni Association is a body of past awardees of the British Chevening Scholarship and Fellowship. People who have gone abroad to study. And we've tested both worlds. So when we see the younger generation risking their life in Sahara Desert and Mediterranean Sea simply because they want to go elsewhere and thinking the grass is only green on the other side. We really want people to voice that and look at other options around available. Maybe we are not doing that. We are shining lights on this. This is an issue because if you don't allow these people, we want to share our knowledge. If you don't allow them to know that maybe it is not what you think. So let's discuss this. Let's know what are the thoughts behind people to say until I leave my country and walk through Sahara deserts and most likely expose myself to modern day slavery. Why will you do that? What are the options available around that can empower our young people to actually actualize their dream? Like Professor Adeni narrated, you can see many of us who have studied in the UK, we came back to Nigeria and we're doing well. So we really want to give hope to the young people that it's not until you illegally migrate out of Nigeria that you can achieve your dream.
No doubt it's a noble, concept and all, but you may want to also consider, what is the thing from what you have, from your findings, and maybe I should ask Alera's question from another angle. From your findings, what are those things that make it always like necessary for the young people? Maybe I should ask Professor Adeni, what in your opinion is it that makes young people always want to go to the other side, to explore the other side? Say, look, maybe it's a little better on the other side. You know, what is it that you have found out that makes the other side, to quote Dr. Mustafa, what is it that is alluring on the other side for the young people?
Yeah, thanks, Ayo. I think the first thing we need to understand is that, you know, migration, you know, is caused by different reasons. You know, one of these reasons is actually economic reasons. Sometimes it could be educational, sometimes it could be health reasons, sometimes it could be exilic. You know, but in rare cases, it could just come because of because of happenstance. Perhaps you've been robbed, perhaps you've been victimized, or perhaps you've been a victim of kidnapping, and of course you just feel that, you know, you do not have any sense of worth in the environment in which you are situated, so you just want to look for alternative elsewhere. But the most important push factor in our own context is economics, and of course tourism happens on a lighter note when people just migrate on a temporary basis, and sometimes it could also even up or graduate into permanent residency. But our concern in our own situation, the one that is most predominant is economic factors. You know, but of course we understand our situation because we're trying economic system. Our economy is still underdeveloped. You know, we're still developing. There are so many cases of so many unsanitary cases around us: joblessness, hopelessness, deprivation, and deprivation. You know, youth graduates, you know, and cannot find a job, so they just think that it is high time they found alternative elsewhere. But the narrative can change if we begin to explore some potentials that can be possible through the ingenuity or the creativity of individuals. All the time, yes, it's okay for us to blame the system, but beyond the system, how can we make the best out of the parlor situation that we'll find ourselves? But the push factors still remain, and let's not miss the fact that, you know, we are in an integrated world. Like I said, migration is welcomed if it is just at the level of knowledge sharing. Of course, we see migration in other parts of the world. After all, you know, 80% of global population are moving towards, you know, 20% destination, and this is concentrated only in the West. So why do we see migration from Asia Pacific countries moving into the Western country? Because of the freedom that is embedded in those Western nations, and I'm defining freedom within the context of absence of poverty, you know, prosperity, happiness, and of course, you know, excitement and enthusiasm. You know, if we are seeing this kind of movement, if we saw this kind of movement in the Asia Pacific countries, and we also saw it declining with the rise of China, the rise of Japan, you know, and the rise of other countries in those section of the world. So there's nothing stopping us, you know, there's nothing stopping us from hoping that in the near future, when our economy improves, the push factor in migration, which is economic factor, will gradually begin to reduce as well. But for now, we understand that we still have those challenges, but within the challenge, there could also be silver lining, so that we can get our monkey off our back and begin to externalize our hope, because there's leadership embedded, you know, in every one of us, and that is the
those colorings that you're using, Prof. It's actually quite exciting. Silver lining, monkey on the back. I'm wondering where I'm going to get that. But let me come to Dr. Mustafa again. You know, I'll go back to where my colleague started. She said it has to be alluring to even enter into this competition in the first place. I'm going there again. What's the allure?
Okay, the first thing I think for anybody is what you do can influence policy. I think that is one of the things that will allow young people, because the top essays will be part of what we will use to engage policymakers, NGOs, multilateral agency, and some of the work DFID has done in terms of curbing modern-day slavery. So having your voice heard in a policy discussion, I think that is something every young person will aspire to achieve. In addition to that, and like you said, the first prize, we also have prizes.
That's
so
the
first prize.
I think that's the one Alera is interested in. Even though she doesn't qualify.
The first prize is a laptop, and the second prize is going to be a tablet, and the third prize is a smartphone. But the winners will also have a certificate of good performance and recognition. Okay. And that one, for me, it's something that over time, in future, it's something that will also benefit them in their career or in any discussion to say, I've done this before, and this is it.
What qualifies me to take part in this essay competition?
You just have to be an undergraduate in a public or private institution in Nigeria.
Undergrads?
So you don't qualify?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think I did.
But you said what qualifies you?
It's not for grandmothers.
Okay.
Yes. So all you have to be is be an undergraduate, right? So, Professor, how do I register if I am an undergraduate?
Well, we are publicizing it using all channels available to us. You know, we're on social media. We're also on traditional media. The opportunity you have given us this morning is one of such platforms. And of course, we know that it's going to be relayed as well on your website. You know, we have members who have provided for us their platforms. You know, we are on cable, news platform online. We are on Abuja Inquirer as well. We're going to do more outings in sister television stations as well. You know, so it's a continuing thing. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, and of course we are doing multiple posting, cross-posting as well on WhatsApp platform. So in terms of accessibility, we have expanded our reach so as to have as many participants as possible, so we can have full involvement and provide for our youths a great sense of belonging, a great sense of integration, as we have set out to do.
Well, it's a competition, and consequently there would expectedly be a deadline, right? Or what's the deadline?
January 18, 2021 is the deadline to make your submission.
It's about, how long do I have now?
A month.
A month. I have exactly 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have to submit my essay, how do I go about it?
So if you Google Chevening, like Prof said, we have a link in some of the TV stations, including channels and other media. We've also included links in there. We are on Facebook. There is a link that will take you to a form you will fill online where you can submit your essay. So if you Google Chevening Alumni Association and you find also you find the results and taking you to the link. We are also on Twitter. We're also posting it within WhatsApp groups and by members and on websites.
Well, Prof, I want to believe also that, with all of this information, in the kitty, in the event that anyone has a challenge submitting their reports, is there a call line or any other access through which they can contact the organizers?
Well, I think we are also continuing with reviewing the processes. For now, we do not have a call line because we just want to make sure that, the source is streamlined, and that's why we're insisting on you following a link to make your submission. But we are all available. The media organizations that I've identified are available, for interested candidates to reach and probably contact us through them. But I doubt if anyone will have problem with submission because, the channels we're using are expansive enough, Ayo.
Well, would it be expected that, I don't expect that any one of them will speak for us long as you have spoken, Prof. But if you could just give us some certain parameters that the people who will write the essays, the students who will be writing the essays, would be required, what will be required of them. We know that subject matter, well, maybe you want to just run through it again. The subject matter, is there a number of words that they have to go through and stuff like that?
Yeah. I think it's very clear. We are following a standard process. First we expect that candidates will not plagiarize. The essays have to be original. they have to flow, from the thinking, from the thought process of those who are contesting. If they are plagiarized by any means, I mean, of course, they should know that we're going to use credit referencing checks, detect this, and that candidate will be disqualified. Secondly, of course, we expect that it shouldn't be more than 2,000 words. It should be comprehensive in scintillating prose, probably. And of course, they are also free to consult whoever they want to consult in terms of ideas, but not in terms of having them write it for them. And it's also important for them to not necessarily bother about impressing, the examiners. Use simple, words, simple sentences, yes, comprehensible, and of course, speaking to the issue. The issue is illegal or irregular migration. What are the issues that you think you are concerned about? How do you think this can be mitigated? And above all, how do you think youths like yourself can be made to look inward, and rather than externalizing your hope and trying to and think that you die in the process, what else can you do, to make a meaning out of your life within the context of your own nation, believing that wherever you are in the world, even though home is largely subjective and a construction, but wherever you are in the world, you still imagine your original home, which Nigeria is. In that situation, why don't you start with Nigeria first before you now begin to think that, hope lies offshore? So those are the basic guidelines, that we expect. We need it to be deep, we need it to be rock solid, and of course it should flow freely, with
I like the
prose.
part, Prof. I like the part that you say we should use simple words, not a magnificent conflagration has engulfed my gargantuan edifice. Simply saying my house is on fire. But, well, Prof, I'd like you to speak to the viewer right now, especially the young ones who are watching right now. What kind of appeal would you be, what would you be suggesting to that young person right now who is watching?
Okay, and my appeal is, whatever the first step to do for greatness is to have a vision. And to actualize your vision is to look at who have gone through this path before. What challenges do they encounter? And how do they overcome it? And finding a mentor, which is one other strength of the Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria. We also have a mentoring program where we coach the younger graduates who also want Chevening to also look inwards within Nigeria. What are the other options apart from I must go to so place outside Nigeria?
Okay.
What are the empowerment opportunities available? What can I do myself? What entrepreneurial skills do I need? How do I get it? So get a mentor, look around, explore opportunities. There is no place where you will not meet challenges. But other people that have gone there, gone through the same path, ask them, how do you overcome this? And be persistent.
Well, this is definitely something to look forward to, but I have to thank you both for being a part of our program this morning. Dr. Tom Mustafa is the Vice Chairman of CAAN and Chairman Selection Committee of the essay competition. She joined us here from our studios, as well as Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, who is Associate Professor at Bayes University and member of the Publicity Committee of the CAPF essay competition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts today. Well, Sunrise continues in a moment. Do stay with us.